Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Hating to Be Grilling. Now today we're going to be out on the smoker. We're going to smoke a beef and cheddar. It's basically an eye round roast. Now what we've got here is this 5-pound eye round, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and cut it up to make 3 different meals out of that will be cooked throughout this week. So let's get started. Alright folks, so off camera, I went ahead and rinsed this off, then I dried it off, paper towels. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna take a fillet knife and we're just gonna trim off this fat cap. I call it a fat cap, this fat, and then there's also this little color film of skin right here. We're gonna trim all that off. I'm gonna do this as cautiously as I can, so that way I'm not cutting too much of the meat off. We're just gonna trim it up, get rid of this fat. All right, folks, so here's our trimmed eye round. Now, I did leave some fat on it just because I like to have some fat left on a chunk of meat. But now, I'm not a trained butcher, but I do feel certified because I did watch a YouTube video on just this yesterday. So, we trim this up the best we can. So now what we're gonna do, we got this chunk of meat I'm gonna take right here. I'm just gonna cut it right down the center. Now, this right here, this chunk is what we're gonna use tonight to make our beef and cheddars. Now for our chicken fried steak, we're just gonna cut these as thin as we can. Pretty even cut. Now it's not perfectly round like like you would find at the store, but we're going to trim a few more of those off. All right, folks, we've got about 4 of these cut out. I ended up going a little bit thicker on the last couple there, but now what we're going to do with this big slab right here, we're going to have roast with it one day this week. All right, folks, so as far as this piece that we're going to use tonight, we're going to get some Frank's hot sauce, sprinkle or pour us a little bit of that onto the meat, and we're going to use that as our binder. So just kind of rub it around all over the meat there. Add you a little more where needed. Put some on the top. Like I said, just massage that all over the meat. All right, folks, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come in with our seasoning. Now, what I love to use for this, Hardcore Carnivore Black. It's a very good seasoning. I only use it for certain cooks, and this is definitely one of them. So what we're going to do, we're going to start sprinkling this over the meat. Pretty heavy. And I'm thinking I like this so much because it looks like gunpowder. But so we're just going to move our around a little bit so that we get this seasoning all over. Now we're going to let this sit out at room temperature for about 30 minutes or so. We're gonna let the meat sweat and really kind of draw in, soak in that seasoning. All right, folks, what we're gonna do next, I got some butcher's twine. I'm just gonna tie this on to the meat. Now, the purpose of this, cinch it down, and as it's cooking, that'll help it hold its shape rather than as it gets warm, flattening out. So we're just gonna cut our excess little ends here. I'm gonna do one more, probably about right here. Now I am gonna go ahead and insert my temperature probe, center it up best I can. And I got it into where the tip of the probe is about right there in the meat. All right, folks, we've got our pellet Z grills, model 7002 C2E fired up. Now it's sitting at 265. It normally, when you fire this one up, it sits a little bit higher than your temp setting. We got it set at 250 degrees. We just raised the lid. I am going to now put this thing onto the smoker. Then we're going to run our wire around, through and in, so that way we can monitor our temperature. Set it there, close the lid, and voila. So now we're going to monitor our internal temperature. Now once it hits 125 degrees, we're going to pull it. Alrighty folks, so we just hit 125 degrees internal temperature. We'll raise the lid. Can't really see it that well from this angle, but what we're going to do now, hey, we're going to get this over here. I'm going to pull this probe out. There we go. I'm going to keep my smoker down to the shutdown cycle. But what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap this thing in this aluminum foil. Now wrapping this, it ain't got to be nothing pretty or spectacular. Basically, you just want to wrap it in that aluminum foil, and now we're going to let it rest for 1 hour. Now folks, while it's resting, I just want to say that we've had this Z-Grills here for about 6 months now, and so far it has performed perfectly every cook that I've had with it. One time I got an error message and I kind of panicked, but that was on me. When I raised the hopper, I was out of pellets. That was on me. But this thing has done great for us. Now, it ain't too terribly far from Mother's Day and Father's Day. And folks, this right here would be a great gift for your significant other, your mom, your dad, that love to smoke. I will post a link for Z-Grills in the description, but just saying, we have loved having our Z-Grills, so y'all give it a try. I think y'all will enjoy it too. All right, so our beef has almost reached this 1 hour rest time. So now in a pot, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. Now in the past, we've done a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, but today I wanna go with 3/4 cup because I want it to be a little runnier than what it's been in the past. So we're gonna try this. Now if this works out, I will put the 3/4 cup in the description for the recipe. If it don't work out, I'll stick with the 1/2 cup in the recipe. Next, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of milk. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna set our burner to a medium heat, and we're gonna let that butter melt down before we add anything else. Alrighty folks, so our butter is melted. Next, we're gonna add 8 ounces of cubed velveeta. We're gonna throw those down in there. Then we're gonna add 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And we're gonna take our whisk, and we're just gonna continue working this around until the velveeta and the cheddar breaks down. All right, folks, so I do believe that adding that little bit of extra heavy whipping cream helped get what I was wanting to get. And that was a little bit thinner consistency, right? In the past, it's been too thick and it didn't really run, but I believe we're right where I was wanting to be. So I kicked my heat down to a low, or to a simmer rather, and I'm gonna let this cool. All right, folks, so it has been 1 hour. So we're gonna unwrap our eye of round from this aluminum foil. I don't know if y'all can see from that angle, but the juice down in the bottom. All right, folks, so our 1 hour timer went off. So we're gonna cut into this thing. I had already started slicing into it, but that aluminum foil was making a lot of racket. So, but this right here is what I love about this recipe. It leaves this thing so juicy and full of juice. All right, I'm gonna try to position that around. And as I press down to cut, look at that juice just oozing out, folks. Yes, that's what we wanted. All right, folks, so we're gonna start building our beef and cheddar here. Start laying some of these strips of beef that we cut onto the sandwich. Now, I mean, I didn't slice it near as thin as old Arby's would have. I'm gonna come in with some of that cheese sauce. I'm just gonna pour it over the top of our roast beef. Yes. All right, folks, so here it is, the beef and cheddar, served alongside some tater tots. All right, here we go with that all-important taste test. So, cut me off a bite. Folks, everything about this sandwich is just incredible. The tenderness and the juiciness of the roast beef, the seasoning from the Hardcore Carnivore Black, so good. And then that cheese sauce, folks, cannot beat this. This is as good as the good old Arby's. I mean, they got the meats, but we got this. So y'all please let me know what you think of the video. Y'all like, subscribe, and we'll see y'all later.